So I'm going to share my screen and very quickly talk about the mechanism of action of hydroxychloroquine. So look, hydroxychloroquine is a weak base. That is a primary action that we use this drug for in case of malarial infections. What happens is that in case of malarial infection, when we give hydroxychloroquine, hydroxychloroquine enters the malarial plasmodium and goes into its lysosomes. These are, you can think of those as the stomachs of the plasmodium. It enters there, hydroxychloroquine, and reduces the acidity. So as it is a weak base, the the stomach of the plasmodium needs acidic environment to be able to digest the food particles it is eating. And when hydroxychloroquine is present and it makes it all less acidic, then that stomach of the plasmodium stops working, and that causes the plasmodium to die. This is a similar mechanism that we use in case of the COVID-19 as well. So let's very quickly see how our cells and how our hydroxychloroquine works within our cells to help us be protected from the coronavirus. And this is possible with other viruses as well. So here, let's say this is our cell, and this is the nucleus of the cell. What happens is that the coronavirus, I think we all know that it binds to ACE2. We call it receptor. It is actually an enzyme present on the surface of our cells, but we call it a receptor because it allows the coronavirus to bind. So let's say here we have a coronavirus. Coronaviruses have spike proteins on them. These spike proteins, or S proteins, are the ones that they use to bind with our ACE2 receptors on our cells. Once they have bound there, then what happens is that there is a thing we say that priming of the S protein occurs. That means that the S protein with one of our enzymes is broken down into two components, and then one component holds on here, the other component binds with our cell membrane, and then this virus starts fusing with the cell membrane. So if I can make it over here, let's say this would start fusing here. So this is the virus envelope now that has fused with our cell membrane. The result of that is that the RNA present in the virus would then be transferred into our cell. Once the RNA of the virus is in our cell, we call it messenger RNA because of its orientation. Once it is inside our cell, this RNA would start helping make more viruses. Now, check this out. This is such a beautiful mechanism. Once the hydroxychloroquine enters our cells, it causes the cellular environment to become less acidic. Especially in the endosomes and in the Golgi apparatus. If you're a medical professional, you will know that Golgi apparatuses are necessary for the virus to then eject from our cells. Similarly, endoplasmic reticulums are small structures here that help make the virus. So generally, we can say that intracellular machineries that are being used by the virus now, these machineries in the presence of the hydroxychloroquine will become less acidic. Because hydroxychloroquine is basic in nature, because it is alkaline in nature, it reduces the acidity inside the cell. That reduction in acidity does the following things. Number one, this fusion of the virus envelope with our membrane to then allow its RNA to arrive into the cell, this fusion is hindered. This fusion requires acidic environment inside the cell. And in the presence of hydroxychloroquine, because the environment inside the cell has become less acidic, the fusion becomes hindered. So that is one mechanism. Second mechanism is, and I want to make sure that we are aware of this, that it's not just that the hydroxychloroquine is a zinc ionophore. These are extra functions or mechanisms by which it helps. So the second mechanism is that when the hydroxychloroquine is present, and the environment is alkaline, now the virus has an enzyme called RDRP, RNA dependent RNA polymerase. This enzyme is the one that would help the virus make its copies. And alkaline environment is bad for this enzyme as well. All of the cellular machinery needs acidic environment. So the second issue that occurs for coronavirus in the presence of HCQ is that the RDRP cannot function correctly. And that is another mechanism by which hydroxychloroquine stalls or slows down the virus replication. Number three, the inside of these lysosomes and the Golgi apparatuses or the endosomes, the machineries, inside there, the virus has its particles that are generated. So remember, viruses are not, they cannot normally divide. They're not living cells with the division and the nucleus machinery. They are RNAs. So they need to be, their small components are made separately, just like a car is manufactured in separate components and then we put them together. Similarly, the virus components are made separately in the cell and then they are put together in the Golgi apparatuses. And Golgi apparatuses would also require acidic environment. And when the hydroxychloroquine is present, the Golgi apparatus and the endoplasms cannot work correctly. And the result is so they cannot work. Sorry, I was looking at the comments. There was some comment about the video. So now that the endoplasmic reticulums are not able to work correctly, that means the assembly of the virus cannot occur correctly as well, or cannot occur. So virus assembly is stalled as well. So that is the third mechanism. A fourth mechanism is that hydroxychloroquine acts as a zinc ionophore. Zinc is a charged particle. It has 2+ charges on it. And charged particles cannot cross our cell membranes and go into the cell because our cell membrane is neutral and it would not allow the charged particles to cross from here. So we need some sort of a channel through which the zinc can go in. And if the zinc enters the cell, then the zinc can attack the virus enzyme RDRP as well and stall its function, which is sort of an antiviral effect of zinc. But this effect would only occur if zinc can enter the cell. So hydroxychloroquine, the next mechanism of action is that hydroxychloroquine would act as a zinc ionophore. And once it acts as a zinc ionophore, it gets inserted in the cell membranes as a channel and allows the zinc to come into the cell. And once the zinc is inside, it would go independent of the hydroxychloroquine and work on RDRP enzyme and stall the viral replication. A fifth mechanism, which is also very interesting, I love this mechanism. What happens is that these ACE2 enzymes, when these are produced, remember the ACE2 enzymes we just talked about? These are the enzymes that act as a receptor for the coronavirus. When these enzymes are being formed inside the cell, I call them, we give these enzymes a candy to then go and do their function. So when these enzymes are formed, the last amino acid on the enzyme needs glycation. What does that mean? That means that we take a glucose molecule and we attach it to the ACE2 receptor or the enzyme, and that completes the enzyme. Hydroxychloroquine interferes with the last amino acid glycation of the ACE2 receptors. The result of that is that when the ACE2 appears on our cell's surface, it has a slightly different shape compared to the regular ACE2 enzymes because one glycated amino acid is not glycated. The result of that is that when coronavirus S protein tries to bind, so let's say this is the coronavirus again here, and the S protein is here. When it tries to bind with this modified ACE2, the affinity of binding is not strong enough and it kind of slips out. So that is the fifth mechanism. So if you now look at it, on one end, hydroxychloroquine would not allow an efficient binding of the coronavirus with our cells. Secondly, it would not allow the coronavirus to fuse with our cell membrane to allow its cargo, that is RNA, to enter the cell. Thirdly, if the RNA has entered the cell, the hydroxychloroquine has made the whole environment less acidic, which stalls the cell's activity. Then it is a zinc ionophore. So these are the mechanisms by which hydroxychloroquine stalls and stops the replication of the virus, and this is how it slows down the virus. And this is why it is also important that hydroxychloroquine is that I have for you today.